The deep silence of space surrounded the human ship Orion. Captain Miller sat in his chair, watching the black void through the glass window. Stars burned like cold fire, far and unreachable. The ship was steady, calm, until the voice came. It was not a human voice. It was soft, almost childlike, but strange. The sound drifted into the human communication system like a whisper carried by the stars. Do humans really reproduce like that? The crew froze. Every head turned toward the speakers. No alarms, no warnings, just this single innocent question. Lieutenant Harris broke the silence. Captain, did I hear that right? Miller's jaw tightened. Yes, record it. Find the source. The ship's AI reported, signal is coming from the alien station ahead. Unclear which channel. The humans had come to this sector for peace talks, not for riddles. The alien station belonged to the Carians, a wise but secretive species. Until now, they had never asked personal questions. They discussed trade, technology, borders. But not this. Reproduce like that? Harris repeated slowly as if the words were dangerous. The question was simple. But in the quiet of space, it felt heavy, like a hidden trap. When the Orion docked at the alien station, the crew walked into shining metal halls. The place glowed with strange lights, walls smooth like liquid silver. The Carians waited, tall and graceful, with faces half hidden by shimmering veils. At the front stood someone different, smaller, younger, bright golden eyes full of curiosity. This was Zyra, and Zyra smiled as soon as the humans entered. You came! Good, I want to know everything. Tell me, is it true? Do humans really reproduce like that? Gasps spread among the aliens. Some covered their faces in embarrassment. Others exchanged nervous glances. Miller kept his voice calm. Zyra, what do you mean by that question? The little alien tilted their head. The files say humans grow new life inside their bodies, that parents give part of themselves to create children, that families raise them with love. Is this true? The human crew shifted uncomfortably. It was not the type of subject they had prepared to discuss in an alien council. Yes, Miller said carefully. Humans reproduce through families. It is normal for us. For a moment, Zyra's eyes sparkled with wonder. But then, the wonder turned into something deeper, something almost fearful. So, you can grow more of you, more humans, and those new humans can also grow more? Without limit? The chamber grew tense. Alien leaders whispered. One muttered, too fast. Too dangerous. Another hissed. It cannot be allowed. Miller noticed their reactions. He felt the pressure in the air, heavy as gravity. We are not unlimited, he said firmly. Humans need time, care, and love to raise children. It is not simple, but Zyra shook their head. Still, no other species does this. Most of us are bound by slow cycles. Some must use machines. Some must share energy to make one child after many years. But humans, you can spread across the stars. The words echoed in the chamber like a warning. One alien stepped forward, voice sharp as a blade. If what this child says is true, humans are the most dangerous species we have ever seen. The crew stiffened. Harris whispered, Captain, they don't look curious, they look afraid. Later, in the guest quarters, Miller gathered his crew. Why that question? Harris asked, pacing. Why now? We've been in contact with Carians for years. Why never ask before? Miller frowned. Because they already knew. This wasn't curiosity. This was confirmation. Confirmation of what? That humans are different. That we grow faster, adapt faster. And maybe they see it as a threat. The crew went silent. Outside the window, the alien station floated in the void, beautiful but cold. Miller felt a chill. He had seen many battles, but fear in an alien council's eyes. That was worse. Hours later, Zyra visited secretly. The little alien pressed a hand against the glass door, looking nervous. I'm sorry, Zyra whispered. I didn't mean to scare them. I only wanted to understand. Miller studied Zyra carefully. There was no malice, only pure curiosity. But curiosity could still be dangerous. Why ask about reproduction? Miller asked softly. Because it changes everything, Zyra said. If humans can create life so easily, then your species is unstoppable. And if you are unstoppable, the council will fear you. Miller leaned closer, voice firm. Zyra, humans are not a threat. We are explorers. We are friends. But Zyra's golden eyes flickered with sadness. Friends, until someone decides you grow too many. Then they will call you enemy. As Zira left, Miller felt unease growing inside him. The crew wanted answers. The council wanted control, and Zira had asked the question that could change everything. Do humans really reproduce like that? The words would not leave Miller's mind. For some, it was a cute question. For others, it was a warning. But Miller knew the truth. This was not just curiosity. It was the beginning of something larger, something dangerous. The alien station did not sleep. Even when the lights dimmed, whispers moved through the silver halls. Shadows passed behind glass walls, and the humans aboard Orion felt the weight of 1,000 unseen eyes. Captain Miller sat alone in the dark meeting chamber, watching the faint glow of alien symbols on the wall. His crew had gone to rest, but his mind stayed sharp. The question still echoed in his head. Do humans really reproduce like that? It was such a simple question, but it had planted fear in every alien heart. Suddenly, the ship's communication link buzzed with low static. Then came the voices. They were not meant for humans to hear, too fast, too strong. If they breed without limit, they will overrun us. Perhaps we should stop them now before it is too late. Miller leaned closer to the speaker. The voices were alien council members. They thought the channel was private, but the Orion had picked it up by mistake. His stomach tightened. They were not curious. They were afraid. The next day, the humans entered the Grand Council chamber. The alien leaders sat in a circle, their faces hidden by glowing veils. At the center, Zira stood small and innocent, eyes shining with curiosity. Miller bowed slightly. We are honored to meet again. One of the counselors raised a hand. We must discuss the truth. Your species reproduces differently. You spread too quickly. Miller kept his voice calm. With respect, humans are not a threat. Families and children take years to grow. Our worlds are not endless, another counselor hissed. Even so, compared to us, you are limitless. Some of our races take centuries to have one child. Others must use machines to copy life, but you are like wildfire. Zara stepped forward, frowning. Is that bad? Fire gives warmth. Fire gives light. The chamber grew restless. The elders did not like Zira's words. One slammed their staff on the floor. Fire also destroys everything in its path. The sound echoed like thunder. Back in their quarters, the crew argued. They're treating us like monsters, Harris said, pacing. Like we're some kind of plague. Dr. Lee shook his head. It's ignorance. They don't understand families, love, or sacrifice. They see only numbers. They see growth, not humanity. Miller stayed silent, staring at the ceiling. He knew the truth. Fear could not be reasoned away. Fear always searched for enemies. The door slid open. Zira slipped inside, small frame glowing faintly under the lights. They don't speak for all of us, Zira whispered. Some of us admire humans, some of us wish we were like you. Miller looked at the childlike alien. Why Zira? Why ask these questions? Zira's golden eyes glowed with innocence and sadness. Because questions are my gift. When I ask, I see truth. And the truth is you are different from us, stronger, faster, but also kinder. That is why they fear you, Miller sighed. Fear makes enemies of friends. If this continues, they may not let us return home. Zira stepped closer, lowering their voice. They are already talking about it. They say, humans must never spread further. They say your kind must be contained. The words struck the crew like ice water. Contained, Harris repeated. Like prisoners? Zira nodded slowly. Or worse. Later, Miller and his officers walked back through the silver halls of the station. Alien eyes followed them, but not with curiosity now, only suspicion. Conversation stopped when they passed. Whispers filled the silence. Too dangerous. They multiply like animals. They must be controlled. Miller clenched his fists, but kept walking. He would not give them the satisfaction of fear. At the docking bay, an alien guard blocked the path. His armor gleamed and his hand rested on a strange weapon. Captain Miller, he said coldly, the council demands your answer tomorrow. Do humans truly reproduce as the child says? You must speak before all. Miller gave a slow nod. I will answer, but inside his mind raced. Whatever he said could decide Earth's future. That night, Miller could not sleep. He stood by the glass window of the Orion, staring into the endless black. Stars burned far away, silent and cold. Behind him, Zira's voice whispered softly, Captain, if you answer tomorrow, they may use your words against you. Miller turned. And if I refuse? Zira's golden eyes dimmed. Then they will call you a liar. And liars are punished. Miller's jaw tightened. So either way, humans lose. Zira hesitated, then placed a small glowing hand on the glass. Not if you speak the truth from your heart. Some will hear. Some will understand. For the first time, Miller saw fear in Zira too. The child who asked innocent questions now realized the danger of curiosity. The chamber was silent after Captain Miller's words in the trial. His explanation about families, love, and sacrifice had been calm, but the council's faces remained hidden behind their glowing veils. No applause, no acceptance.
Only silence. Then a counselor's voice cut through the still air. Words of love do not change numbers.
One human can become two. Two can become four. And so on, forever. That is danger. That is wildfire. The council dismissed the humans without further answer. Guards escorted Miller and his crew back to their quarters. Doors locked behind them. Lieutenant Harris slammed his fist on the table. It doesn't matter what we say. They've already decided. Dr. Lee frowned. Maybe not all of them. Zira looked worried. Maybe some aliens want to help us. Miller said nothing. His mind was heavy. He knew when a council had already chosen its path. And this path was not safe for humans. That night, the Orion's AI detected unusual activity. Someone was trying to access the human ship's database from the alien network. The crew scrambled to block it, but in the chaos, Miller noticed something strange. A hidden folder inside the alien system had appeared on their display. Captain, the AI reported, this is not human data. It looks like alien research files. Miller narrowed his eyes. Open it. The screen flickered. Lines of alien script translated slowly into English. The title froze the crew in place. Project Seedfire Human Study, Classification, Potential Galactic Threat. Harris whispered, My God. They've been watching us for decades. Page after page appeared. Detailed notes about human history. Wars, population growth, colonization of new planets. Charts showing how fast Earth's population had multiplied compared to alien species. Predictions that within 1,000 years humans could outnumber every other race in the council. Dr. Lee's voice was shaky. They don't see us as explorers. They see us as invaders. Miller scrolled further. At the bottom of the file was a chilling line. If left unchecked, humanity will dominate the stars. Prevention necessary. Before anyone could speak, the screen flickered again. A warning flashed. Unauthorized access detected. Tracking in progress. Shut it down, Miller barked. The AI cut the connection, but the damage was done. Someone knew they had seen the forbidden files. Moments later, the door to their quarters opened. Zira slipped inside, eyes wide with fear. You looked at the files, didn't you? Miller's voice was low. Why do they exist, Zira? Zira lowered their head. Because the council is afraid. They see your strength, your growth, and they call it danger. They wanted proof. And now you've seen it, Harris growled. So that's it. They've already decided to destroy us. No! Zira shook their head. Not all of them. Some believe humans could save the galaxy. Some believe your strength could be hope, not danger. Miller studied the young alien's golden eyes. He saw honesty there, but also helplessness. Then why warn us? Why help us at all? Zira's voice dropped to a whisper. Because I don't want you to disappear. I don't want fear to win. Suddenly alarms rang across the station. Red lights flashed in the hallways. A metallic voice boomed, Security breach. Human quarters under watch. Restrict movement immediately, Harris cursed. They know we saw it. Miller grabbed Zira's arm. Can you get us out? Zira's eyes darted nervously. Maybe. There are old tunnels in the lower decks. They lead to the archive chambers. The archives? Miller asked. Yes, Zira said quickly. The place where all truths are kept. If you want answers, you'll find them there. But it's forbidden to outsiders. Miller looked at his crew. They were already nodding. If they stayed, they would be prisoners. If they left, maybe they would find the truth. Lead the way, Miller said. They moved through narrow corridors, shadows chasing them. The station's silver walls seemed alive with warning lights. Guards patrolled above, their weapons glowing faint blue. Every step echoed with danger. Finally, Zira stopped before a hidden door. With a small press of glowing fingers, the wall slid open, revealing a dark stairway spiraling downward. The air grew colder as they descended. The walls here were not polished silver, but old stone, carved long before the shining halls above. Strange symbols glowed faintly, whispering of forgotten times. At the bottom lay the archives, Rows upon rows of crystal data cubes floated in the air, glowing softly like frozen stars. The room was massive, stretching into shadow. "This is where all records are kept," Zyra whispered. "The truth about every species. Including yours." Miller stepped forward, his heart pounding. He reached for a cube marked with the symbol of Earth. As his hand touched it, the crystal pulsed with light, projecting words across the air. Humanity. Rapid reproduction. Extreme adaptability. Conflict-driven growth. Dangerous potential. Dr. Lee whispered. "They don't just fear us. They expect us to conquer them." Harris clenched his fists. "And maybe they're already planning to strike first." Cliffhanger. End of part 3. Before Miller could read further, footsteps echoed through the stone halls. The light of alien weapons flickered in the darkness. A voice shouted, "Step away from the archives. Humans are forbidden here." Miller turned, standing tall in the glow of the forbidden knowledge. For the first time, he felt the weight of destiny pressing on his shoulders. The truth was no longer hidden, but now the question was clear. Would the truth save humanity, or destroy it? The archives glowed like a field of frozen stars. Captain Miller still held the human crystal when the alien guards stormed in. Their weapons hummed with blue light. "Humans are forbidden here," one shouted. Miller did not move. His crew stood behind him, tense and ready, while Zyra stepped forward with trembling hands. "They only wanted to know the truth," Sarah cried. But the guards did not lower their weapons. "The Council demands judgment. The humans will face debate before all. Their future will be decided." The crystal cube slipped from Miller's fingers. It floated back into the air, as if even the archives did not want humans to leave without answers. The next day, the station became alive with movement. Thousands of aliens poured into the grand chamber. Rows upon rows of seats circled a massive stage glowing with shifting lights. The air hummed with voices in 100 different tones. At the center of the chamber stood a high platform. The humans were led there under guard, every step echoing like the beat of a drum. Captain Miller looked up. He had faced warlords, pirates, and mercenaries, but never had he stood before an audience so vast. Thousands of eyes glowed from the shadows, each gaze heavy with judgment. The counselors took their seats, veils shining with silver fire. When the chamber quieted, the high speaker rose. "Humans," the voice boomed, deep as thunder. "Today we decide your place in the galaxy. You will speak. You will defend your kind. The council will listen. But know this, one wrong word, and your species may be banished or destroyed." The silence that followed was suffocating. Miller stepped forward. His voice carried, firm and calm. "Humans are not here to conquer. We are explorers. We are dreamers. We are fragile too. We bleed, we die. We make mistakes. But what makes us strong is not how many children we have. It is the love we give to them. It is the family we build, the sacrifice we endure." The chamber remained silent. Some aliens shifted uncomfortably. Others whispered, then a counselor slammed their staff. "Love does not change numbers. You multiply too quickly. In 10 generations, your kind could overrun a dozen worlds." Another voice hissed, "And love makes you dangerous. For love, you will fight harder than any soldier. For family, you will never stop. That makes you unstoppable." Miller's fist clenched, but his voice stayed steady. "Yes, we fight for family. But is that danger? Or is that hope? We fight because we care. Without love, without family, what reason is there to live?" Suddenly, Zyra's small voice rang out across the chamber. "If humans are dangerous because they love, then maybe that is the danger we need." Gasps echoed. The young alien stood boldly beside Miller, golden eyes blazing. "My people cannot reproduce easily," Zyra said, voice trembling yet loud. "Some of us may never have children. We are fading. But humans, you are full of life. Maybe your fire is not destruction. Maybe it is survival. Maybe we need it." The chamber erupted in chaos. Some aliens shouted in anger, others in awe. The high speaker banged the staff until silence returned. "Enough. This is not for a child to decide. The council will vote." The lights dimmed. The veiled figures raised their hands one by one. A glowing counter appeared above the chamber. "Ban humans from galactic space, yes or no?" One by one, the votes lit up. "Yes, yes, yes." The red numbers climbed. "No, no." A few small lights flickered weakly. But the majority shone red, Harris whispered, voice tight. "Captain, we're losing." Dr. Lee's face was pale. They've already chosen. Miller stood tall, even as the numbers sealed their fate. At last, the high speaker rose. The vote was complete. By the will of the Council, humans are forbidden from spreading further. You are exiled from our space. Your ships will be escorted back to your homeworld, and you will not return. The words slammed down like a hammer. The humans stood in silence, shock heavy in their hearts. Zaira looked up at Miller, eyes wide with sorrow. I tried, the little alien whispered, but they don't listen. Miller placed a hand on Zaira's shoulder. You listened. That is more than most. The guards moved forward, weapons ready. The debate was over. Humanity had been judged. As the humans were led away, Miller glanced back at the chamber. Thousands of alien eyes still followed him. Some burned with hatred, others with fear. But a few, just a few, looked uncertain, even sympathetic. Hope was not gone. Not yet. The docking bay was quiet when the humans returned. Too quiet. No voices, no footsteps, only the low hum of the alien station. Guards escorted them to the Orion and then vanished into the shadows. Captain Miller stepped inside his ship and froze. The control screens glowed red. The engines were locked. The doors sealed from the outside. They were prisoners inside their own vessel. Lieutenant Harris slammed the console. We're trapped like animals. Dr. Lee's face was pale. They don't want us to leave. Exile was a lie. Miller stared out the window. Dozens of alien warships hovered in the black sky. Their weapons glowed faint blue, aimed directly at the Orion. Then a voice came through the comms, cold and sharp. Humans, remain where you are. By order of the Council, you are not permitted to return to Earth. Your ship will be escorted elsewhere. Harris clenched his fists. Escorted? More like executed. The silence in the ship was heavy. Every crew member knew what those words really meant. Hours passed in tense quiet. Then the sound of small feet echoed through the metal halls. The door to the crew chamber slid open and Zaira slipped inside, glowing faintly in the dim light. They plan to destroy you, Zaira whispered. Not exile. They fear if you return, your people will spread too far. The crew exchanged grim looks. They had suspected it, but hearing Zaira confirm it made the danger real. Is there any way out? Miller asked. Zaira hesitated. There is, but it is dangerous. You would need to break the station's docking locks. If you do, the warships will attack. Harris gave a humorless laugh. So our choice is burn here or burn outside. Miller stayed calm. No, our choice is survive. We don't die here. But before they could plan, the AI spoke. Captain, there is an intruder on board. Weapons were drawn instantly. The crew searched the dim corridors, their footsteps echoing like thunder. At last, they found the intruder in the engine room. A human, a crew member. Ensign Carter stood near the reactor controls, his hands trembling. His face was pale, eyes darting like a cornered animal. Carter, Miller said coldly, what are you doing? Carter's voice cracked. I sent them information. About Earth, about our defenses. I thought if they knew, they would spare us. Harris roared, you betrayed us? You gave them Earth's secrets? Carter shook his head wildly. They promised. They said humans could live if I cooperated. I didn't want to die out here. The crew's rage filled the air, but Miller raised a hand. His voice was hard as iron. Fear does not excuse betrayal. Carter sank to his knees, whispering, I just wanted to live. Miller's jaw tightened. They could not waste time on judgment now. The betrayal was done and the enemy knew everything. Suddenly, the entire station shook. Sirens blared. The view outside the window changed. Alien ships were moving, forming attack lines. One by one, their weapons charged with deadly light. Dr. Lee gasped. They've locked coordinates on Earth. Harris's eyes widened. They're not just after us. They're targeting home. Miller's chest tightened. The betrayal had given the Council what they needed. Earth's location, Earth's weakness. Now destruction would follow. Prepare the ship, Miller ordered. We're breaking free. But Captain, the AI warned, if you disengage the docking clamps, the fleet will fire. Miller's eyes burned with resolve. Then we move faster than their fire. Zaira ran to the controls, small glowing hands dancing across the alien interface. I can help. I can unlock one side of the clamps. But the rest, you must force open with power. Harris grinned grimly. That I can do. The crew split into teams. Sparks flew as engineers overrode systems. Harris and two others forced open heavy clamps with magnetic bursts. Dr. Lee prepared emergency shields. Miller stood at the helm, hands firm on the controls, waiting for the moment of freedom. The ship trembled. Warning screamed. The last lock snapped open with a thunderous crack. "Engines, full power!" Miller roared. The Orion blasted free from the station, sparks trailing behind like fire in the void. The docking bay vanished into blackness. Instantly, alarms flared. Alien warships turned, weapons glowing. The first beams of energy streaked past the Orion, lighting space in violent flashes. "Shields at 60%, Lee shouted. "Evasive maneuvers." Harris barked. The ship darted through the black, weaving between beams of blue fire. Explosions flared behind them, pieces of metal scattering like burning stars. Zira gripped the console, eyes wide with fear. "They will not stop. They cannot allow you to escape." Miller's jaw was set like stone. "Then we make them fail." The alien flagship loomed ahead, its shadow stretching across the stars. Its weapons glowed brighter than suns, charging for the kill. Inside the Orion, the crew felt the air tighten with fear. Captain Miller's hands gripped the controls. "If that thing fires, Earth is finished," Harris cursed under his breath. "We can't outfight that. It's suicide." Dr. Lee's voice trembled. "Captain, even if we escape, the fleet already knows where Earth is. They'll follow us. They'll never stop." The silence was broken by a soft voice. Zyra stood at the center of the bridge, small golden eyes burning with a strange light. "Then stop running." The crew turned. "What did you say?" Harris snapped. "Stop running," Zyra repeated firmly. "If you run, they will always hunt you. If you fight, you must fight with more than weapons. You must fight with truth." Miller studied the childlike alien. "Truth won't stop plasma fire." Zyra shook their head. "Maybe not. But words can break chains even guns cannot touch." Suddenly, the comms opened again. 1,000 alien ships connected, and across the fleet, screens lit up with the face of the high speaker. "Humans," the voice thundered. "You are disease. You are danger. You spread too fast, you love too deeply, you fight too fiercely. For the safety of the galaxy, you must be erased." The crew stiffened. Then Zyra stepped forward. Without permission, they connected their voice to the entire channel. Their small figure appeared across the alien fleet, glowing softly like a golden flame. "If humans are a danger because of questions like mine, then fear me too." The chamber of every ship fell into silence. Thousands of alien eyes watched, stunned by the little one's defiance. Zyra raised their voice, shaking but brave. "I asked a question. I asked about human life, about how they bring new children into the world. And for that you called them dangerous. But tell me, are we not more dangerous if we fear questions? If we silence the truth?" The high speaker's voice cracked like thunder. "Silence, child." But Zyra did not stop. "You say humans grow too fast. But do you tell them why we fear it? Do you tell them the truth about us?" Gasps echoed across the alien fleet. Even the human crew turned confused. Miller stepped closer. "Zyra, what truth?" Zyra looked at him, golden eyes filled with sorrow. "Because my people cannot reproduce anymore." The bridge fell silent. "Our numbers fade," Zyra continued. "Every year fewer are born. Our future is dying. That is why the Council fears humans. Not because you are too many, but because you are everything we have lost." The words spread across the fleet like fire through dry grass. Whispers erupted, voices rising, confusion shaking the discipline of soldiers. Dr. Lee's face went pale. "So that's it. They don't fear what we might become. They fear what they cannot be." Harris slammed his fist on the console. "They're not protecting the galaxy. They're protecting their own weakness." Miller's heart raced. The revelation explained everything, the fear, the secrecy, the lies. Humanity was not dangerous because of numbers. Humanity was dangerous because it reminded them of hope. On the fleet's comms, alien soldiers argued openly. Some shouted for silence. Others demanded answers. The fragile order of the Council began to break. Then Zyra raised their small glowing hand. "I am Carrion, and I say this to all. If you call humans dangerous because they can create life, then I am dangerous too. Because I still ask questions. Because I will not fear truth." The effect was electric. Across the ships, younger aliens stood at their posts, refusing to follow orders. A rebellion sparked in their eyes, lit not by weapons but by a child's words. The high speaker's veil burned with furious light. "Enough, all ships, fire at the humans now!" But no shots came. Half the fleet held their fire. Officers hesitated. Soldiers froze. Some even lowered their weapons. Chaos exploded across the armada. Voices clashed. Orders collided. Inside the Orion, the crew could hardly believe what they saw. "They're turning on each other," Harris whispered. Miller's eyes hardened. "Not turning, choosing. Some want truth. Others want silence." Then the flagship's weapons roared to life. Its cannons glowed like a dying star, aimed not at the Orion but at Zyra's own people. Dr. Lee gasped. "They're targeting the rebels." Zyra's eyes filled with tears. They would kill their own. To keep the lie, Miller gritted his teeth. "Not if we stop them." The Orion raced toward the alien flagship, engines screaming against the void. The smaller ships of the fleet clashed around them, some firing at the humans, others turning their weapons against the Council itself. Space had become a storm of rebellion, lit with explosions like dying stars. On the bridge, Captain Miller's voice was steady. "Target the flagship. If we take it out, the rest will break." Harris shook his head. "Captain, one blast from that monster will crush us. We don't stand a chance." Dr. Lee's eyes flickered with doubt. "And even if we win here, Earth is still exposed. They know where home is. We can't protect both Earth and ourselves." The truth settled over the crew like ice. This was not just a battle for survival. It was a choice of destiny. The comms opened again. The high speaker's voice filled the ship, burning with rage. "Humans, you think you are hope, but you are only a shadow of chaos. Surrender Zyra to us. Give up the child, and we may spare your planet." The crew froze. Every eye turned to Zyra. The little alien's golden eyes shimmered with fear and sadness. "They want me because I spoke. Because I told the truth. If you give me up, maybe they will let you live." Miller's jaw tightened. "No, that's not who we are," but the crew looked torn. Harris muttered, "Captain, if handing over one child saves Earth..." Zyra's voice broke in. "Do it, please. I'm not human. Your people matter more than me." The silence was suffocating. Miller stepped forward, his voice heavy but firm. "Zyra, listen to me. Humanity does not survive by throwing away the innocent. We survive because we protect them. That is our strength. That is what they fear most." Zyra's eyes filled with tears. "But if you keep me, Earth might burn." Miller turned to his crew. "If we give Zyra up, Earth may live for now. But the truth dies with them. And without truth, what future will we have?" The crew said nothing. They knew the choice. Sacrifice hope, or protect it. The flagship's weapons glowed brighter, ready to fire. Dr. Lee whispered, "We don't have time." Miller gave a single command. "Then we make our stand." The Orion dove straight toward the flagship, weaving through enemy fire. Explosions lit up behind them as smaller ships tried to block their path. Harris pushed the engines to the limit, the ship trembling as if it would tear apart. "Shields at 30%. Lee shouted, "Hold together." Miller barked, "We only get one chance." Zyra gripped the console, voice steady despite the fear. "I can overload their command channel. If I speak to the fleet one last time, maybe more will rise, but it will reveal my location. They will fire at me." Miller nodded. "Do it." Zyra's small figure appeared across every alien ship once more, glowing like a golden star. "You fear humans because they give life. You fear me because I give truth. But today I say this: life and truth are stronger than fear. If you kill us now, you kill your own future." The message spread like fire. Across the fleet, young officers lowered weapons. Entire ships turned against the Council's flagship. Rebellion was no longer whispers. It was war. The flagship charged its cannon anyway, aimed directly at the Orion. "Captain," Harris yelled. "They're locking on." Miller stood tall, eyes blazing. "All power to forward shields. Aim everything at their core." The crew obeyed. Energy surged through the ship, weapons glowing hot. The two ships fired at the same time. A beam of white fire lanced from the flagship, while the Orion's cannons spat their fury. Space lit up with light brighter than a sun. The collision shook the void, tearing metal, cracking shields, burning air itself. The Orion spun, alarms screaming. Half its systems went dark. Smoke filled the bridge. But on the screen, the flagship's core erupted in a blinding explosion. Fire consumed the colossal vessel, ripping it apart piece by piece. The Council's voice vanished in static. The flagship was gone. Silence fell across the fleet. Then slowly alien voices rose, not in anger but in awe. Ships that once pointed weapons at Earth now broadcast a different signal. Humans, live. Humans are not plague. Humans carry hope. The battle was over. Inside the battered Orion, Zyra leaned weakly against the console, their light flickering but alive. You chose truth over safety, Zyra whispered. Miller placed a hand on their shoulder. That's what humans do. We protect what matters, even when it's dangerous. Zyra's golden eyes softened. Then maybe you really are what this galaxy needs. Ending scene. The Orion limped back toward the stars, scarred but unbroken. Behind them, parts of the alien fleet followed. Not as enemies, but as allies now, ready to listen, ready to change. Miller stood at the window, staring into the black void ahead. Earth was still far, still fragile, but no longer alone. Beside him, Zyra whispered the question that had started everything. Do humans really reproduce like that? Miller smiled faintly. Yes, Zyra. And it is the most dangerous thing in the universe. Because it means we never give up. The stars stretched before them, endless, waiting for the next chapter of humanity's journey.